What if events went differently, and the moment Sector 7 fell wasn't just a footnote in history, but the tipping point for something far darker? What if in the shadows of chaos, Bumblebee, the Autobots' most loyal scout, wasn't recovered by Optimus, but claimed by the Decepticons? Welcome back, my fellow watchers of the multiverse. My name is Max Charlebois, aka MissedThePart, and today's twisted tale of betrayal and transformation was officially locked in live by Madam Time Gear 44444, a proud supporter of the Watcher of the Multiverse tier. So huge shout out for this incredible gritty twist on the Bayverse Transformers lore. In this timeline, after Sector 7 collapses, Megatron's forces intercept Bumblebee's damaged body. They don't destroy him, they reprogram him. Gone in the warm-hearted warrior we know. What rises is a silent, merciless hunter, a Decepticon enforcer, with a broken voice and no mercy. His yellow eyes' armor remains, but the symbol on his chest now glows red. Optimus Prime must now confront the unthinkable. That one of his own has become the enemy. And Sam Witwicky, he's still carrying the Allspark, and now being hunted by the very Autobot who once protected him. Want to shape major stories like this one? Join the multiverse by jumping into one of our Patreon tiers or our YouTube members only tier, the monthly Watcher tier, or we have the Watcher 5 or the Watcher of the Multiverse tier. We've got massive crossover videos on the way, so make sure your voice is heard in the live streams, because you never know when your idea will roll out into the multiverse. That being said, fire up your engines, choose your sides, and prepare for war. This is What If Bumblebee Became a Decepticon in the Bayverse. It had been a year since Sector 7 last documented non-human activity in San Francisco. The reports had gone silent, the agents reassigned, and the surveillance files redacted or buried. Officially, the case was closed, but unofficially, one man remained obsessed with unfinished business. His name was Director Conrad Clay, and his new version of Sector 7 wasn't chasing UFOs anymore. They were hunting ghosts, one in particular, Bumblebee. In a rust-scratched garage on the edge of Brighton Beach, the yellow Autobot lived quietly. Beneath the flickering neon sign of an old mechanic shop, his battle scars were hidden behind faded paint and stilled servos. He hadn't transformed in weeks, not since Optimus Prime's final encrypted message. "Stay hidden. Earth must not know we're here. Not yet." But Charlie knew. Charlie Watson had become the only human Bee trusted. She didn't just fix his radio or understand his static-burdened signals. She saw the aching soul inside the machine. While the world moved on, she returned to him, night after night, bringing worn VHS tapes, chocolate donuts, and old mixtapes that hummed like soft lullabies through his broken voice box. Bee listened, not just to the songs, but to her heartbeat. Her life was fragile but fearless, and he loved her for it. But Sector 7 had been watching too. It happened on a Wednesday. Charlie had ditched a shift at the electronics store and brought Bee his favorite snack, double chocolate chip ice cream. They parked in a backlot alleyway where the concrete hummed from distant traffic, and Bee played her a new mixtape he'd assembled from her old cassettes. Laughter spilled from the open windows. That's when the truck pulled in. No logos, just cold gray metal. Charlie turned too late. She saw the barrel before she heard the words. "Target acquired. Terminate." They shot Bee first, an energon disruptor that collapsed his core power systems. He tried to transform, but his limbs locked, his optics dimmed. Charlie screamed, She threw herself over him, blood pooling under her knee where she fell. "He's not a threat," she shouted. "He's not..." The second shot cracked like thunder. Bee rebooted to the sound of static, smoke, and her body crumpled beside his chassis. Blood against yellow, eyes open, staring at nothing. For one long second, the world stopped, and then he moved. They tried to run. They didn't make it 5 steps. The massacre was brief. Bumblebee tore through them without hesitation. One crushed in his palm. One pinned to the concrete. By a tire iron he twisted from his own frame. The final agent's scream was cut short as Bee dropped a stolen disruptor core into his chest and detonated it. The fire painted the alleyway in smoke and bone. Charlie's cassette player crackled in the silence. A song played faintly. The Smiths. Something she once said reminded her of him. "Please, please, please, let me get what I want." He didn't bury her. He couldn't. Instead, he took her cassette player, set it into his chest cavity, and locked it in place behind plated steel. Bee was gone. In his place was something colder. He vanished. No signal. No trace. No comms with Optimus. Earth's authorities wrote it off as a chemical fire. Charlie was listed as missing. No one investigated the surveillance. No one wanted to. For the next 3 years, whispers moved through abandoned military channels. Agents sent to investigate Sector 7's disappearance turned up dead. Entire black sites were erased. Witnesses described a yellow and black blur with eyes like molten chrome. Something that didn't speak. Something that watched from shadows and disappeared. They called it a ghost. But behind that silence, Bumblebee was rebuilding himself. Armor. Scorched obsidian, matte finish to absorb light. Cloaking installed from shattered Decepticon drones. Voice box retrofitted with Decepticon mimic tech. Weaponry, salvaged energon blades and fusion cannons. And for his crest, a cracked rusted Autobot sigil slashed through the middle. He didn't serve anymore. He hunted. In a quiet junkyard outside Nevada, the moon casts a pale glow over twisted metal. From the shadows, Bumblebee emerges, 6 feet of silence. His once bright optics now flicker with a harsh, crimson hue. In one hand, he holds a melted Sector 7 helmet. In the other, Charlie's cassette deck, still playing. If the humans think I'm a monster, I'll show them one. 3 years later, the world has changed, but no one speaks about why. The Autobots are in hiding. Earth no longer sends reconnaissance satellites into deep space. The UN has quietly dissolved the Cybertronian Response Initiative. Even Optimus Prime's once hopeful signals have grown faint, somber. There's a ghost out there, a yellow one. They say he stalks war zones, scavenges battlefield wreckage, eliminates Decepticon remnants, and human militias alike with the same brutality. The Autobot cause has no place for him, and neither does the Decepticon agenda. Because Bumblebee is something new. He's not here to save the world. He's here to punish it. Somewhere in a North African desert, a convoy of illegal weapons traders crosses the dunes, unaware they're being followed. They're ex-military. The kind of men who once signed Sector 7's paychecks. One of them jokes about selling a Cybertronian pulse cannon to a rogue warlord. That's when the sand shifts. Out of the storm, a low hum. A rising mechanical vibration that causes static to crackle in their radios. The driver shouts. Someone opens fire into the dust. Too late, a massive black vehicle, low to the ground and growling like a beast, rips through the first transport. Metal screams, tires shred, a blade erupts from the front axle and spears through a screaming merc. The others try to run. They don't get far. One man lives long enough to hear the distorted voice from the figure looming over him. A digitized echo from Charlie's cassette deck, warped with time and pain. "Where's your master now? He doesn't answer. It doesn't matter. Bumblebee leaves no witnesses. Meanwhile, in the shadows of Cybertronian politics, Optimus Prime receives intel that shakes his core. A Decepticon outpost on the dark side of the moon was annihilated, not by Megatron's forces, not by the humans, but by one Autobot traveling alone. He's seen the footage, the fighting style, the twisted plating, the shape of the helm. It's him, Optimus murmurs. It's B. The others don't believe it. RC, Ratchet, Sideswipe. They think B's dead. Some whisper that he went rogue, others that he was rebuilt by someone else. But Optimus knows. He watched the boy grow into a soldier, watched him forge his voice out of pain and resolve. He knows Bumblebee, which is why the silence terrifies him most. On Earth, at a defunct Sector 7 archive, a battered John Keller, former Secretary of Defense, now living in exile, unearths old black files marked Project Spectre. These were never authorized by Washington. They reference enhanced neuromimetic frame design, emotion recognition modules, combat autonomy without prime directive, all connected to Edwin Murray, a forgotten technician whose work was erased after his death. At the center of these files, surveillance photos of Charlie Watson and annotations about her psychological influence on Subject A-113. Emotional anchor established, must be severed. Watson termination to trigger weapon protocol. It was never about saving the world. It was about controlling B. They killed her. To break him. Decepticon outskirts Deep Space Starscream, now the de facto leader of the Decepticon remnants, receives word of a new threat. One that hunts their kind without mercy. His scouts vanish without transmission. Entire drop zones wiped out. In desperation, Starscream sends a message to Earth. To Prime, or whoever still listens, you've lost one of your own. Now we all pay. He doesn't live to see the reply. His ship goes dark 2 hours later. Bumblebee leaves no survivors. In the wreckage of a remote Autobot bunker, Optimus Prime confronts the inevitable. Bumblebee must be stopped. He refuses to let another brother fall to darkness. But this time, Prime knows speeches won't save him. He contacts a single person who might still matter. Sam Witwicky. But Sam's changed. He's older now, quiet, haunted by the past, and when Prime explains the mission, Sam only asks one question. Does he remember Charlie? Optimus hesitates, and that's when Sam knows. They're not stopping a rogue soldier. They're trying to put down a ghost. B crouches atop a ruined skyscraper. Rain lashes his armor. Below, human forces set up perimeter defenses. The night buzzes with radar and radio chatter. In his hand, he holds a melted piece of Sector 7 tech. Charlie's final cassette tape fused with broken steel. He plays it once. Her voice, soft and distant. B, don't ever forget who you are, okay? A pause, a flicker in his optics, and then silence. The sky over New York tears open with energy signatures not seen since the Battle of Chicago. The Autobots, now rallied under Optimus Prime's direct leadership, make landfall in the city, setting up a forward base in the wreckage of an old Stark Industries shell facility. This isn't a rescue mission, it's a purge. Reports have confirmed Bumblebee's location, deep beneath the Sector 7 Black Vault, an abandoned subterranean data center meant to be erased after Project Spectre failed. But B rebuilt it. He made it his lair. Twisted steel arches form rib-like corridors. Drones patrol in silence. Audio echoes with hundreds of voices spliced from old cassettes and intercepted transmissions. Charlie's laughter, Prime's rallying cries, Starscream's screams, all looped into madness. And in the center of it all stands B, clad in a warped, blackened variant of his classic frame. now fused with Decepticon shell plating, spikes coiled with static energy, illusion cloaks flickering like memories unraveling. He doesn't speak anymore. He only listens to the past, to the dead. Prime leads the charge through the upper vault levels, accompanied by RC, Ironhide, and a now battle-hardened Sam Witwicky, suited up in experimental Stark human Autobot combat armor, the last gift Tony Stark left in a forgotten archive. The resistance is brutal. B's sentries are fast, unpredictable. Drones built from scavenged Decepticon code, and Sector 7 schematics. Each corridor is a kill zone, and each room plays another piece of Charlie's old tapes, warping sentimentality into psychological warfare. They lose Ironhide to a mimic bomb. RC is crippled by a blade trap triggered by the sound of her own voice. Only Prime and Sam make it to the core, and B is waiting. The chamber is lit in dim yellow and crimson glow. Screens surrounding B flicker with memories. Charlie's face, Sam's early battles, Sector 7 logs, and one line, "You are not what they made you." Prime steps forward. B, I never gave up on you. B's mask shifts. His body glitches. The illusion of Charlie appears behind him. B, don't forget who you are. The ghost makes him pause, just long enough for Prime to try one final attempt. He walks toward B, unarmed. You are more than vengeance, more than this pain. We fight to protect life. You taught me that. B's systems stutter. Sam, watching, slowly uploads a backup memory core, Charlie's final message, recovered from her phone. It was recorded days before her death. If anything ever happens to me, don't let the darkness win. You're not just a machine, you're my best friend. The chamber stills. B slowly lowers his blade, but that's when the failsafe kicks in. Project Spectre's override protocol. The system attempts to seize B's mind again. Sector 7's backup AI injects its final commands, attempting to turn B fully Decepticon one last time. B convulses, screams digitally in every frequency. Prime steps forward, but it's Sam who makes the call. He connects directly to the control hub, sacrificing his body to feed Charlie's memory stream into B's processor. It stabilizes him. B stumbles forward, looks down at Prime, at Sam, unconscious. He kneels and speaks. I remember. He turns to the core. Let's end this. He overloads the entire vault, an EMP pulse, and a tied to his spark 1 year later. The UN recognizes a new interplanetary treaty. Decepticon cells have all gone silent. No word of B, only rumors. Some say they saw him on a distant moon, repairing a satellite by hand. Others say he walks abandoned Earth cities in silence, placing flowers on grave markers no one visits anymore. A statue is built in Brooklyn. At the base, Charlie Watson, Sam Witwicky, Bumblebee, heroes, friends, ghosts of mercy. Final shot. A transmission crackles through static. I'm still listening. A yellow blur disappears over the horizon. And that is going to be it for What If Bumblebee Became a Decepticon in the Bayverse. Now, this was locked in on a live stream by Madam Time Gear 44444, and I highly recommend to take a look at the live events, or just take a look at what we're doing here on the channel, because you never know when any of your requests are going to be made. Not only do we take locked in requests, but we just take requests in general. We do really appreciate the support. It really does go a long way to making more of these videos possible, and I can't thank you enough. But that being said, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a wonderful day. Peace out.